Play it with Xbox Game Pass.
Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Flight Simulator News Dispatcher show for the date of September the 19th, 2019. In today's episode, we will be looking at the latest and greatest updates from Microsoft on their new and upcoming simulator. Starting with the Insider Group content. Small little disclaimer, the Insider content doesn't really have an update this week. It's got one single picture in it, that's about it. The main update is from the homepage. And another disclaimer is that this is the final week we will actually show anything from the Insider homepage. So if you haven't already signed up for the Insider home, go and sign up please, because this is your last chance this week to have a look at what's inside on that page. And as you can see, there is no new update. It's still September the 12th there. And then the development roadmap, nothing really has been updated either. But moving over to the homepage, you can actually see that there is a massive update in the fact that they're saying that procedurally generated grass is now available in the sim by default. Now, most people might not think this is a big deal. I think this is a huge deal, that by default, procedural volumetric 3D grass is there available from base. Now, this is something that's usually available with add-ons like scenery and airport add-ons, and this is going to cover the entire world from default. And this picture, there is more to it than meets the eye. If we have a look at the autogen in this picture, the trees, the vegetation, the buildings, the clouds, they go off to the horizon quite far. The draw distance in this picture is insane. Across this lake here, going off to the distance on the very horizon, you can make out trees, you can make out vegetation and buildings, and you can see that the clouds just sink and melt into that horizon line, meaning that the draw distance to this simulator is not like a limited thing like current simulators have. Like, you can set it to where it's like 50 miles out or 200 miles out or even 500 miles out. This looks like it just goes off forever until the Earth's curvature of the horizon ends. So for me, that's a massive thing to note from that picture. The other update we got was the Tech Alpha timeline. So in October the 10th is going to be release of the delivery schedule for the Tech Alpha. Those of you who got the email about it will have already registered. If you haven't registered, Tech Alpha registration at the top there, go and register. And of course on October the 24th is when they're actually going to release that Tech Alpha to those that have been selected from the registration. So again, if you haven't already registered, go and register. They've got new features coming next week. That Discovery series that's been promised, that's coming, as well as new news on the 26th, which is next week. Another thing to note as well is that sloped runways, procedurally generated grass, these are little things that Microsoft have been teasing and giving us, and been saying that this is something that we're going to be getting in the sim. These are only like two of the things that they've shown us. They've shown us a lot, and I just wonder what yet there is to show us, that what more there is that hasn't been in any current simulator at all, you know. So looking at the screenshot that's new, you can see layers upon layers of cloud. There's cumulus clouds there, there's stratosphere clouds there. There's loads of different layers of clouds. There's like 4 layers there, which for me is a massive thing, when really didn't have this within the sim itself to this level of detail. Again, we're talking 4K graphics. You can just about make out the land on the floor, which means this plane is really up high, and again has a registration AS something something. This picture just blows my mind with the amount of detail of the layers of cloud that is contained within. Now, last week we were talking about something which we're going to get into a moment, Microsoft Azure. What is it? There are no real new videos this week. Just quickly looking at this one, again you can see the generation of vegetation and buildings and that go off. The draw distance just goes off to the horizon, which to me, there is no visible boundary that you can see the vegetation making. In current simulators, you can actually see a visible vegetation line of draw distance, which is not evident in this picture. The clouds, the vegetation on those hilltops, they just go off to the distance, which to me, that's a big update, as well as the draw distance of the world is just infinite, really, as far as the eye can see, which is a massive thing. Now, let's get into Microsoft Azure now, as promised. What actually is it, and how does it work? Microsoft have said that the flight simulator is powered by Microsoft Azure. So how is it powered by it? Well, first off, what is Microsoft Azure? The meaning of the word Azure, it's a hue of blue. It's a variety of molten barley. It's a design magazine from Canada and an album name. It means many things, but for Microsoft, it used to originally be called Windows Azure. And it's basically a cloud layer on top of services. So it's basically a massive data set of servers, okay? And on top is a virtual cloud layer that is maintained by what's called the Microsoft Azure Fabric Controller. Now, the Fabric Controller is there to ensure that there are no crashes to the servers, that it manages the whole structure. You know, it maintains workflow and power, so it doesn't break down. It makes sure nobody hacks the system. Basically, this Fabric Controller is Skynet, and it manages all the servers within Microsoft. But what does Azure actually do? Back in 2008, it was created. It was called Project Red Dog, and it was launched in 2010. It's got over 600 services to it, and if you sign up for an account for the first 12 months, over 25 of these services will be free for you. And this is services like messaging, media services, data management, storage services, mobile services, computers, machine learning software. And all of these services are yours available for when you sign up for a free account, which for me, I believe, because it's powered the Microsoft Flight Simulator, that you're going to have like a default account for these services. You're not going to maintain these services, but you will have an account available to you, I believe. And what can you do with all this stuff? Well, Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing service for building, testing, deploying, and managing applications and services throughout the Microsoft data centers. So basically, they control the entire infrastructure. The network of information is theirs, which basically means that Microsoft Flight Simulator will not be hackable. It will not be able to be pirated and then, add-ons be made sort of off, in secret, and people creating this underground community. They've made it and they've built it within this infrastructure, which is completely secure. And it uses all these services that they're going to be able to utilize for the flight sim. And as some of these services, websites, messaging, media services, these are things that developers are going to be able to use when they get the SDK code, and they're able to utilize it to create their own add-ons. For me, this is a massive thing, a massive step forward in the fact that it's really going to be a protective bubble around the flight sim. It's going to mean massive power performances, because it's going to be, the whole world is run from these servers. The whole world will be generated within this Azure. You're not going to need to store nothing but the base installer on your computer, and then it will connect to Microsoft Azure, and you will run the flight simulator from there, meaning that you're going to have very smooth performance. You're going to have a flawless flight experience depending on your internet connection. It's a massive step forward, really, because we are so used to having the entire world of flight sim located on our computer at home locally, but now it's actually going to be stored, on a massive network elsewhere, and we just connect to it, which is basically what Microsoft Flight was trying to do back in 2014, but they failed to do it, and they finished it. So, what do you think this means for Flight Sim? Put your comments below. What do you hope to get out of this? The fact that the flight simulator is powered by Microsoft Azure. I'm quite excited for it, but it does have one giant flaw. It's not going to be on a disk. It's not going to be available to download, like to have on a physical media. It's going to be download only, which basically means that if they decide Azure isn't working, or it completely gets switched off one day, we've lost Microsoft Flight Simulator for good unless they've got a backup option. So that's it basically for this week, guys. Now, if there's anything you feel I overlooked in today's episode, or if there is a topic you want to discuss for future, please leave it in the comments below for us, and we will consider it for next week's show. And thank you for watching this week. Take care. Don't forget to register for the Tech Alpha. If you're not inside the Insider Home, get in it now. Thanks for watching. See you next week.